Hey folks, this is Matt once again coming at you with another review. And probably going to do a couple reviews tonight, and I'll just space it out. So if you're wondering why I have the same shirt, it's because I'm doing the reviews on the same night. Very rainy night, stormy night, because it was nice out earlier, so of course stormy at night. But the first review, I didn't do a unpackaging of this, but First Power 100, this is a very nice guy in here, had sent me a film that I watched called Ip Man: The Final Fight. Star a guy named Anthony Wong. Now, this is a film that previously I have been sent Ip Man and Ip Man 2 with Donnie Yen, and I have reviewed those. Those are still up on my channel. And I end up really liking the two. This is what the inside looks like. I ended up liking those Ip Man films, which I'm guessing is why he sent this to me. It wasn't a film I even knew existed. And for those wondering, actually finding out, this has nothing to do with the Donnie Yen films. Because Ip Man, this guy was a real life person. He was the guy who had taught Bruce Lee. And it makes it look like it is another sequel to Donnie Yen's films. That maybe it's, okay, Anthony Wong's playing him because he's a much older character. This is like about his final years. But no, this really doesn't have, other than this Ip Man character, the person, really has no connection with Donnie Yen's films. And to be honest, that's fine, because IMDb, I know I should never reference IMDb again, but the first two Ip Man films has like an 8.1 and a 7 point something, and this has like a 5.9. Now, I still think that's too high, but there's a reason why there's such a big difference between them. I didn't care for this film. I'm probably not going to put rant in the title, because when rant is for like when I'm yelling and cursing and screaming, this film is really just, I found it uninteresting, and I found it boring, and I found it just a very so-so mediocre. I didn't care for this movie at all. For those wondering, it's PG-13. It's about 100 minutes long. Cantonese with English, original Cantonese and English dub, English subtitles, making of, cast and crew interviews, English language, and trailers are your features. This film is more of a drama. I mean, it says thrilling action, gripping, exhilarating. I didn't think that at all. This film really is more like a drama, because it's about this guy who's the grandmaster, Wing Chun. He had, during the later years, had suffered problems with his stomach. Sometimes he had, pains in the stomach, and he'd be spitting up blood. And he travels by himself to Hong Kong to start a new life. His wife can't join him at the time. He teaches a few folks the ways of Wing Chun. He meets and gets some students in. You also have this cop who, kind of a dirty cop, because he talks to Ip Man, but at the same time he steals money at one point, and one time he steals this guy's watch, and then he takes the old watch and he puts the new one on, and at least him sort of working with these guys saying, hey, if you work with us, you could be the new police chief. But then at the end he sort of becomes good again. I'll just read from Wikipedia. It says it perfectly. Portrays a realistic account of Ip Man's later life in Hong Kong. And that's the thing. I think as opposed to Ip Man and Ip Man 2, this is more of a more real film, more realistic film. But I just didn't find that interesting of a film. It's not many fight scenes, if you're looking for that. And even when they appear, you've seen them done before in dozens and dozens and dozens of other martial arts films in Asia. Nothing to come to the great stuff that was in the first two Ip Man films, which again, this has nothing, this isn't a third film, this is just another film with this character in it. Anthony Wong, he was there, he didn't really do anything for me, didn't hate him, didn't love him. Really, this film is just uninteresting, boring, and in one ear out the other. His wife comes to visit, and he shows her around Hong Kong, but then life in Hong Kong isn't that great at the time. She decides to go back. Later on, he finds out via telephone that his wife has passed away. He meets this singer, and who will later become his new wife. And at the end of the film, she passes away from like cancer or something. And the action is that's the other thing. This film didn't really seem like it had a plot. It kind of just seemed like it more like a biographical. It's not like there's a specific plot and okay, this is where it's leading up to. It's sort of a more of a biographical on his final years. But that's the thing. Is kind of like the film seemed like it didn't know where it was going for me. I'm like, where is this movie going, and when is it going to get there? Because I found it well shot. I'll say it's a well shot movie. It is a well shot film, but again, there's not a lot of fight scenes, and when they're there, they're there. You've seen them in other. There's dozens of other martial arts films that are much better in this. Uh, it gets to a finale where one of his students is fighting one of our bad guys, and one of our bad guys was working with the police chief, but then the police chief finds out that the Ip Man's one of his students was drugged, and that's why he's getting the shit kicked out of him. The policeman tries to stop it. Ip Man and other people get there. You have a fight where, students, other people fight. And then Ip Man fights this guy and gets him to, because the guy can't be arrested here, but if he gets to here, that's the area that he can be arrested. Pretty much gets him there, and then the guy gets arrested. And the final ending of the film is, I guess Bruce Lee, when he was a star, visited this guy and said, "Hey, I would like to get you on film." And then Ip Man got a friend of his to film him, and during the end credits, you actually see a little bit of that film. Some actual footage of Ip Man. That's the thing about this film. That's why it's hard doing reviews for people. Again, he sent this to me, I guess because I like the other two Ip Man films, but this film is nothing like those films. It's more of a drama. It's more of a biography of his final years. And I'll be honest, I'm not really interested in the character that much. I was interested in Ip Man 1 and 2 because it was Donnie Yen kicking the shit out of people. But I'm not really interested in this more biographical drama. As that once in a while we got thrown a fight scene so that we don't bore them too much. But too little too late. And Anthony Wong was there. I mean, he's an older guy, so he's not going to be doing Donnie Yen type stuff. And again, it's just really there. I mean, it's a film that didn't seem like he knew where it was going. It's one of those films that's very forgettable. I think it's easily forgettable. And it's one of those films that I really have no interest in seeing again. And, first part 100, do apologize. I know this isn't much of a review. I mean, usually my reviews are 20, 30 minutes long, but there's not much to say about this film. And I apologize for first part 100. Again, he just said out of the blue, he's sending me something. I'm like, wow, that's cool. That's humbling. And then there was this, and then I watched it, and I'm like, it's just really not that interesting in the film. That's pretty much what happens in the movie is what I said. It's more of a drama. It's more about his final years and the loss of his wife and meeting this new woman who's a singer and teaching his pupils, and one pupil get into a fight, and the cop that's dirty, but he's not an evil guy, but he's a somewhat dirty cop. Thrilling action. I disagree with the thrilling action. I didn't think it was thrilling at all. gripping, exhilarating. I don't disagree with movieexclusive.com, whoever the hell they are. Bottom line, if you want to see Ip Man films, watch the two Ip Man films with Donnie Yen. Because it's faster paced, it wasn't that boring, and they're well shot as well, but you also get Donnie Yen has some really damn good action scenes. I mean, really, really damn good action scenes that are, you know, that type of review I agree with. This one, that was very so-so, boring, tedious, and in one ear out the other. So I didn't really care for this. But that's just my opinion. If you disagree, that's fine. Just my opinion. So again, and it's kind of misleading too because it's called Ip Man: The Final Fight. I guess technically it is, but it seems like the way they word it, they want you to think that this was Ip Man. You know, even though the guy's same character, you know, because he existed, it's not a follow-up to the Donnie Yen films. But anyway, this is my thoughts on it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Later.